He said he'd be back in a minute, but as Lily stepped onto that Seattle stage, his hand was already on her back, some other woman, not me. He missed the moment our girl had rehearsed for weeks, the kind of betrayal that cuts deeper than a knife. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I'd make sure he'd never forget what he'd done, a debt he'd pay in silence and shame. I saw him before Lily did. She was up there, fourth position, chin tilted just like her ballet teacher taught her, glowing under the spotlight, waiting for the music to start. Her father, Jack, wasn't in his seat. I thought maybe he'd stepped out for a call, but through the auditorium's side door, I caught him halfway across the parking lot, laughing with her, his hand resting low on her back, like it belonged there, like he hadn't a care for the daughter spinning herself dizzy for him. He used to flinch at the mention of his old flame, swore they hadn't spoken since before we married. "You're the only one," he'd said. When I asked about the photos he thought I'd never find, tucked in a box under the bed, I believed him not because he was convincing, but because I wanted Lily to have a father she could look up to. Fool that I was. I thought love could rewrite a man's heart. I didn't move. Second row from the front, arms crossed. I watched our little girl rise and begin, her grace a quiet rebuke to his absence. The crowd melted, phones up, parents whispering praise, and the one man who should have been beside me was out there, holding someone else like she'd never left. He slipped back just before her final pose, breathless, jacket wrinkled, acting like he'd rushed. I didn't say a word. Lily saw him and smiled, like his presence made the night whole. That's when I knew this wasn't about me. It was about her. And I'd be damned if he'd miss another moment without feeling the cost, a weight that'd settle in his bones like lead. At home, I poured a glass of water, sat at the kitchen table, and opened my laptop. There were better ways to show a man what absence really meant, ways that'd burn without a flame. He was still talking as I stood something about traffic, not wanting to climb over people during the performance, how he'd seen her dance. He just needed a minute. He said, I didn't argue. Didn't even look at him. I washed the glass, dried it slow, and set it back in the cabinet. Each move a step toward something he couldn't see coming. Upstairs, I tucked Lily in, same as always. She asked if her dad liked her spins. He thought you were beautiful, I said, and it was true. Even if he hadn't seen them, his lie a debt I'd collect in time. Morning came, and while he showered, I opened Lily's backpack, slipped out the recital flyer. The winter showcase was 3 weeks out. I marked the date, a promise carved in ink. That weekend, I met Lily's ballet teacher, Sarah, for coffee, under the guise of helping with costumes. She was warm, welcoming, always grateful for volunteers. I asked if the kids would give thank you speeches at the end, like last year. She nodded, smiling. Maybe Lily wants to say something, I said. Of course, she replied. Just send it ahead. And I did a short paragraph, crafted in Lily's voice, about how much she loved dancing, how proud she was to have loved ones watching, and one line, sharp and clear. Thank you to those who stayed until the end and didn't walk out when it mattered. No names, no accusations, just truth, a truth that'd sting like a slap he'd never forget. Lily practiced it once in the living room, not stumbling, her voice steady. When she asked if her dad would be there, I smiled. He won't miss it. And I meant it, with a certainty that felt like vengeance. He didn't get it, not when I printed the speech on clean cardstock and folded it into Lily's bag, not when I reminded her to give it to Sarah at rehearsal, not when she came home beaming, saying they loved it so much they'd let her go last. He just smiled, like he was proud, like he had anything to do with it, oblivious to the trap closing around him. A week before the show, I tweaked his schedule. He's forgetful, always leaning on me for family reminders. So I deleted an old rescheduled meeting and wrote in bold Lily's solo, "Final performance, be early, 2 days out." He saw the reminder, thanked me for keeping him straight. I smiled. Of course. That night, Lily asked if we could get ice cream after take a photo with all 3 of us. Since last time her dad left too fast, I said we'd make sure he stayed. My words a vow he'd never suspect. By Thursday, it was set. Lily's speech was approved, added to the queue. Her name would be called just before the final bow. Center stage, mic in hand, the auditorium packed, and Jack would be right there, front row, as promised. The night before, while he watched TV with a beer, I sat at the kitchen table, labeling thank you cards for other parents, my calm a mask for the storm I'd planned. He didn't ask what I was doing. He never did. Not until it was too late. He showed up early, shirt pressed, phone off, flowers in hand. Like he was winning something. He grinned at every parent we passed, laughed too loud when someone complimented Lily's curls, sat front row beside me, whispering, "She's gonna shine tonight." I nodded, eyes on the stage, not on him, but on the moment I'd built. When the curtain rose, he reached for my hand. I didn't move. I watched Lily hit her mark, arms raised, like she knew the world was watching her. Not him. Her solo took 3rd place, every spin and pose perfect, the grace she'd practiced in the hallway before bed, thinking no one saw. This time, someone did. Jack clapped so fast his watch slid down his wrist, leaning over to say, "That's our girl." I just smiled, a smile that hid the blade I'd sharpened. The group's final number ended. The music faded, but the lights stayed up. Sarah stepped to the mic. "Before we go, one of our dancers has something to say." Lily. She stepped forward, curls bouncing, cheeks flushed, holding the mic like it wasn't her first time. Jack sat up, smiling wide. "Thank you," Lily started, voice clear, "for watching us dance. It means so much." She paused, glanced at us, then went on, thanking those who stayed until the end, who didn't walk out when it mattered. Silence fell, heavy as guilt. A few heads turned. A woman in the 3rd row looked down. Jack froze mid-clap, hands dropping, mouth open like he could play it off, but he couldn't. The truth landed like a punch he didn't see coming. Lily bowed. The crowd clapped. And this time, he stayed put, pinned by a truth he couldn't escape. "Before you go, be honest. If your kid was up there and someone walked out like that, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. I'll read them all. And while you're here, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.